Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Steelers Live. I'm Mike Prisuta, filling in for Missy Matthews, joined today by Matt Williamson and Craig Wolfley. We are here to discuss the Steelers' offensive line, where it's been and where it's headed, and maybe how it's going to get there. And guys, I wanted to open with some comments made by General Manager Kevin Colbert this week. A little bit of a review of last season as he got the media ready for the upcoming NFL scouting combine. And when he talked about the offensive line, Kevin Colbert had this to say, and I quote, "We knew that offensive line was going to be young. If I have any regrets, it's probably from not adding another veteran, an affordable veteran that maybe could have eased the growth time for that group." So, Wolf, let's start with you. Given all the changes that were taking place, they knew it was going to be a work in progress. Did enough work get done? Give me your synopsis of the O-line 2021.
You know, I really like the youth and vitality of this group. I like their competitiveness. What they lacked really was a singular consistency among the group. You know, if you take each of these five guys that started last year, pretty much the group, I'm speaking of Kevin Dotson at the guard, individually, the five look good. They look like they're capable. What they didn't get was that simpatico coherence of five guys coming together and being able to consistently put down some excellent run blocking, pass blocking, what have you. So I look for there to be growth. But let's remember, a center, you've got a rookie. At left guard, you had, by the end of the year, a fifth left guard who was a rookie, John LeGlue, for all intents and purposes. And then the left tackle was also a rookie too. You had a rookie running back and a rookie tight end. You had a lot of issues there. So I think this offensive line is capable. I understand if you can add a veteran or so. But right now, there are some young guys that I think are ready to push on to some really good things coming up.
Mike, you said the words that I was going to describe this line as work in progress, which I think we all knew coming in. When you have the stability and the high level of play that you had for so many years with Pouncey and DeCastro and Al and Ramon and all those guys, there's going to be a learning curve. There's going to be a step back. There's going to be a lack of continuity, as Wolf mentioned. And what's interesting, and I guess you could look at this, on either side of the coin, was four of the five often did a nice job, but it was that Mike Tomlin popcorn. And it wasn't always the same one that just didn't quite get the job done. That if there could be a little more consistency and continuity there, I think the group as a whole would look better. But again, I don't think that should blow people away. I mean, a rookie center, you're asking a lot. A rookie left tackle, you're asking a lot. But they got a lot of valuable experience.
Yeah, I saw some
things. I'm sorry, Michael.
I was just going to say, I saw some good things, but not enough of them. Is that how you see it, Wolf?
Agreed.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page in that area. Look, you look at the difficulty of being a rookie center. Mike Webster didn't start his rookie year. Dermontti Dawson did not start a game at center his rookie year. He played guard. It's a difficult position to be in. And you got this Kendrick Green who comes in. I love this kid in the sense of this. The kid is a physical mauler at center. In today's modern day centers, there's not a lot of physical maulers. You got a lot of good, smart guys, position blockers. You got people that are able to get the job done and by, making sure their angle and all that sort of stuff. But this kid comes out and he takes it like a personal affront. He's trying to break you. That's one of the things I love about him. He's got some of that old school in him. So at center, I like the fact that this kid come back, have another opportunity to be able to groove his technique.
And I think people can't overlook with Green that he was really a guard by trade. So this is a position switch and a difficult one. I think he only started 4 games at Illinois at center. So, right. This is a work in progress. That's the word for it.
Are you guys convinced? Matt, we'll start with you, and then Wolf, I'm real curious as to your opinion on this. Ben Roethlisberger suggested toward the end of last season that Kendrick Green would be better suited to play guard. Do you think he is still a center? And are we all in agreement that Dan Moore did more than enough to establish himself as the left tackle of the present/future?
100% agree on Moore. As for Green, I sort of thought the same thing, but I'm really getting the idea that the Steelers don't agree with myself and Ben that Green's a guard, that they have a lot invested in him in a center and still have a lot of hope for him, which I understand. And the thing you noticed at center was when the the nose tackle types, would line head up on him or at a shade, over one of his shoulders. He had some problems with power and bulk and size. And I think that's not a lack of strength or bulk or power from Moore. He has all those things. I think he needs to be a little lower after snapping the ball, which he hasn't done a lot. And as Wolf will attest, I think technique will erase a lot of those problems. He has the physical skills.
There's no question, and you're right on, Matt. Look, you get some sumo-sized biscuit under 350-pound nose tackle on your snap hand. He's got an advantage. He jumps the snap a little, and, he's able to get into you. One of the things that I critiqued Kendrick about was, his pad level at times gets high. And that happens with guys that are extraordinarily strong because they think they can still overwhelm with strength. And you can't. You've got to play the leverage with those big beef eaters, right? So you've got a little bit of problem with his pad level, his footwork, and his angle that he takes on some of the block backs. He puts himself in jeopardy there. And the other part that I talked about and still continue is that on the double teams, his awareness of the most dangerous man, run-throughs and that sort of thing, that's a bit of a problem. And that comes, like, just as you said, 4 games at college. Most of the blocking schemes at Illinois were man blocking schemes that I was aware of. And it was at least more power-oriented. So for him, I think it's been a real adjustment. And I look for you get a complete off-season. You got an ability to work at it. I like what this kid can bring. I hope they keep him at center. I was of the opinion, like you guys, I started thinking, well, I'll put it this way. He can play guard and he can play center. I think he can be very, very good at either. We shall see.
I'd like to see him keep him at center as well. In addition to the physical traits you guys mentioned, I'd throw mobility in there. I think he can get out there and move. He can get to the second level. He can get outside. They've always liked a move center here. You got to have the beef inside, but you've got to be able to play in space a little bit too. I think he's got what it takes. It's just going to take some refining. Of course, a lot of changes going into last year. We don't have time to run all those down again. Everybody knows what they were by now, but maybe some more coming up. BJ Finney, Chukwuma Okorafor, and Trey Turner. They are impending free agents. Matt, are you bringing any or all of those guys back if you can?
Yeah, I've given this a lot of thought because they actually have free agency money that they can spend, unlike other years. The first-round pick could be on offensive line. I think they have some resources here to address it, and I think it needs addressed. And this would be my strategy in that I want to create a situation where you get into camp with maybe 8 or 9 guys that you think can play at this level. And I don't need Anthony Munoz. I don't need Dermontti Dawson. And I'm not going to spend the money for those type of guys if they even existed. Instead, I want no holes on my offensive lines. I can live with C pluses and B minuses from left tackle to right tackle this year. And here's the strategy I would employ is I would re-sign Chooks. I think people forget how young this guy is. I think he's only 24 years old. I don't think his contract will be outrageous. I think you could probably get him for $5 or $6 million, something like that. The other guys, I would let them test the market, and I would really go after a starting right guard who's a veteran, preferably coming off his first contract. That's going to be your highest priced lineman. He's going to be the 8 or 9 million, maybe even 10 million a year type of guy. And I've got 6 names or so there. There's a good crop to go fishing there. And then I'm still probably drafting a tackle, if not in round 1, and it doesn't have to be round 1, but probably in the 2nd or 3rd round that has some athleticism and upside, because I don't want to go. I think it's bad business to shop for tackles in free agency. I mean, their price tags just get outrageous, but guards, it's not so bad. And then all of a sudden you have the new guard, a rookie tackle, and pretty much all the guys from last year, more or less. I think that's a pretty good group, including the Leglues and Hassenhauers who, moved down a peg.
Wow, you weren't kidding when you said you've thought about this.
I thought about this a little bit. Yeah.
That was a dissertation, man. Wolf, is there anything to add? That was O-line 101 to graduate level stuff there from Williamson.
That's why I love being on with Matt, because he can clarify my mind like nobody else can, man. All I got to do is go, yeah. But that's really the truth of the matter. It's great points by Matt. Look, One of the keys is going to be, and I do believe, without a doubt, Kendrick Green needs to be at center. But Kevin Dotson coming back, let me tell you something. Kevin Dotson, there's more meat. There's so much meat on the bone there. That's a four-legger turkey, turducken, whatever you want to call it, waiting to be gnawed on. Because that kid has got so much now. He's got to stay healthy. He's got to come through. The rest of this line, Dan Moore, like you're talking about, he's got so much going on. 99% of the snaps he took, this kid, and his rookie year. That's amazing. Chooks, I want to re-sign Chooks, yes, because look, he's athletic, playing right tackle. He's strong enough to play right tackle. He's got the feet for left tackle. There's something there that you want to keep. I like him. He's like Matt said, the guy is so young. Forget about, he's 24. He's got 35 starts in 46 games. Gadzooks, man. I mean, that's something. If he can get his hands working a little bit better, there's a lot he can do. Look, Matt laid it out better than I could. I think this line needs some Pat Meyer coming in. He's got an opportunity to mold this offensive line in a way that, remember, this is the third offensive line coach in the, 4 years? Second offensive coordinator. There's a lot of jumbulation going on here. There's some raw materials here that can really be excellent in the coming years.
Wolf, let's stay with you since you brought up Pat Meyer. Wanted to get there. And, he's the third offensive line coach since the start of last season. You got these young guys that we've already discussed a little bit coming in, learning on the job, training, all that. What do the Steelers need to get out of Pat Meyer, assuming we have a pretty good idea of what he has to work with here?
Well, I think it's going to be getting a solid message across. And I think it's going to be about guys coming together. And here's the thing about it. You've got to know exactly what's going on. If you go back, I've been watching film like crazy because let's face it, there's not a lot going on right now. So I'm sitting there watching film until I'm bleary-eyed. And you can see where you've got inexperience piling up into the holes and kind of messing up. There's missed assignments. There's things that have been left there. And they've got to get a cohesive message across and make sure that they don't overthink it. When you have young guys, this is what I mean. If you got young guys, one of the strengths of young guys is the ability to come off and move people. You don't have vets that are beat up. You don't have vets that are, kind of a little rusty in the hinges. You got young, flexible backs. You got hammies and ham hocks and everything else that are just made for driving people out. I want to see a little more man blocking schemes. I'd like to see a little less of the inside-outside zones with a little less of the motion that creates some of the problems on those zone blocking schemes, because sometimes you kind of outthink yourself and put people in the box that shouldn't have been in the box, and etc. So I think if you can do a little bit more man blocking scheme and you short set a little bit more, don't have that vertical set all the time where you're giving the defensive mutant pass rushers 4 or 5 steps at you on the pass rush before you're able to do anything. Set quick, set fast, strike, get after it. That's what I like. I hope Pat Meyer is able to bring some of those things together.
That was like my dissertation on team building and how to handle the offseason. I mean, I think the two of us are playing to our strengths here, Wolf.
Well, either that or we need a biscuit. That's all.
Matt, anything to add, or did Wolf cover that sufficiently there?
Not really. It's really difficult for me to comment on assistant coaches because I've been in those buildings and I know what they do behind the scenes, and it doesn't always reflect to us outside the walls. But I think Wolf would probably agree with me that all things being equal, I think offensive line coaches are the most important assistant coach on the staff.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're face to face with the guys. You get down there, and the thing about being able to bring 5 guys together, it's like we were talking about earlier. If you got 4 guys doing the job and 1 guy at the popcorn, you got huge problems, and that's what was occurring. I'm hoping that Pat Meyer is able to bring these 5 together and be able to field a 5-some that, when you get real tight, real good together, you know what happens? You get those hands, you got a fist, and it's a hammer, baby.
Wolf, I know you haven't played in a while, but I'm assuming that you are still.
That was being generous.
I'm assuming you're still ensconced in the offensive line community globally. What do you know about Pat Meyer? What's his reputation? What do you hear?
I got to tell you, I am not well versed in that, and I've not known anything about Pat. I apologize, but
I can tell you he worked for the Bears and the Bills and the Chargers in Carolina, and now he's with the Steelers. That's pretty much what I know about him.
Former strength coach
of
too,
the same way.
Matt
may know more.
I don't know a ton. I don't know he's a background as a strength coach, which I think is a feather in his cap. I like that. And I will say his last couple stops, they didn't exactly supply him with the greatest talent to work with. I'll leave it at that.
Well, he fit right in on this program. Then. Maybe we'll get him on next time. Guys, that was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. Let's do it again soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
For Craig Wolfley and Matt Williamson, I'm Mike Prisuta. You have been listening to Steelers Live. Thanks for finding us, however and wherever you found us. And we'll look forward to doing it again right here on Steelers.com.